Hello, this is my solution to the assignment 4 from Maximilian Schwarzmüller's course, Hungary, the Complete Guide. As we can see here in this open tab in my browser, I've already solved the assignment 4 6 minutes ago, and it's fun because it looks like I have a curse on me that I can manage to properly record a video in the first try. So here we go again. I was using the same hotkey for pausing the video and renaming a variable on VS Code, which is F2. So I just paused the video I just recorded in the middle of the explanation. So I recorded only half of it, but here we are again, and let's solve it once more. Okay, so this folder here, assignment 4 section 5, which I pushed into GitHub 6 minutes ago, is this one, but let's just ignore it and create a new project called simply assignment 4 mg new. Name is gonna be assignment 4. I'll pause this video and I'll come back once the project is created. Well, the project was created and here we have it. I will rename this open terminal instance to Git. We'll execute Git commands here to push the... No, I don't need Git. I already have pushed it into GitHub. So I will open this folder in integrated terminal, and I'll rename it to working. This is the instance where I will be generating new components and this kind of stuff, and I will open a new instance in the same folder, but this one I'll rename it to compiling. This is where I will run ng-serve -- open. It's gonna open in my browser, so I'll pause this video once again and I'll come back once it's running. Well, the project is running, and I forgot to say, but this assignment seems to be a little bit longer to solve, so if it gets too long, I might have a time limit on YouTube per video. So I don't remember now if it's like 10 or 15 minutes, but if necessary I will cut this video in multiple parts and I'll put it in the description of the video, like part 1 of 3, part 2 of 3, and so on, part 3 of 5, this kind of thing. And in any case, the correct sequence of the videos will be in the playlist too. There is a playlist in the channel. So let's go. Before anything, we will be clearing the template of our app component, and let's remove this generated property called title. That's it. It's clean. So let's go. Assignment 4, practicing property and event binding and view encapsulation. Step 1, create 3 new components: game control, odd, and even. Let's go to our working terminal, nggc game control. and GGC odd and GGC even. Here we are, and the step 1 is complete. Step 2, the game control component must have buttons to start and stop the game. Let's go to the game control component. Let's clear this auto-generated paragraph, and let's create a button called start and another button called stop. Step 2 is complete. Step 3, when starting the game, an event holding an incrementing number should get emitted each second for a reference set interval. And step 4, the event should be listenable from outside the component. Okay, so let's create this event emitter in the game control. Let's give it a name, something like counting. We receive a new event emitter of type number. As it said, we'll be holding an incrementing number in this event, and it must be accessible from outside. This incrementing number must be created too, so it will be our count. We might start it at 0. Well, when starting the game, this event should get emitted. So let's create a event binding in the click event of the start button. Let's create a method called onStart, and onStart we should have stored the reference of the set interval into a property. Let's create a timer of type any, and here we will initialize it with set interval. Let's emit our counting event and let's emit our count, and we must increment it, so let's increment it here right after passing it. And this ms value stands for milliseconds, so we must as step 3 says, we must the event should get emitted each second. So if we have milliseconds, we must pass 1000 as this value. I always forget about the this prefix before the name of the property, but it's okay now. And let's see here, steps 3 and 4 are complete. Step 5, when stopping the game, no more events should get emitted. Clear interval. Let's do the same here, but for the stop event, the stop button on stop. Let's create this method on stop. Clear interval this dot timer. Okay, The step 5 is complete. Let's go to the step 6. A new odd component should get created for every odd number emitted. The same should happen for the even components on even numbers. Okay, so here we must emit this number, this count number, to the app component, and in the app component we must create an array of numbers, and then we must use an ng4 for printing each one of these numbers in the array. And inside this ng4 we might use two components, the app even and the app odd we created, and they must have an ngIf or a property binding to the property hidden, and there we must check if the number is even or if the number is odd and show them on the turn. And this is not very effective on terms of memory optimization, because we will be creating an array and storing values which are not so necessary. If we stop and think a little bit about this, we might have only the last number of our count, and it could be a number in the app component, and we wouldn't need to pass a count number into the app component. And there we could do in ng4, and we could do a loop between 0 and the last number stored, which could be incremented every time this counting event is emitted. But we must respect the steps proposed for this assignment. And here in the step 3, our teacher asks us to hold an incrementing number in the event. So in respect to this, we will be working with an array instead of only controlling a last number property. So let's go. Let's use an app game control inside of app components, and here we are with our two buttons we created here. Let's do an event binding to the counting event we created here, and let's create a method called onCounting. And this onCounting event, we receive a number as a parameter. So let's pass it here, and inside app component we must create this onCounting method, and its parameter, and we must store it in an array of numbers. Let's call it numbers, and let's initialize it as an empty array. And onCounting, we will push this new number into our array. That's it. So now we can create a div and use an ng4 directive. Let number of numbers, and then we may use our app even and our app odd components. Okay, so let's see if it's working. It's working, but we're emitting both of them, and we're not yet checking if the number is even or odd. So let us use an ngIf here. We will create an app even component if number when divided by 2 has a rest of 0, and it's gonna be odd in the opposite situation. When divided by 2, this number is the rest is different from 0. So let's see it now. 0 is an even number. What's happening here? Oh, there's a typo here. It's gonna work now, I think. 0, 1, 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. Let's stop our counter. And it stopped here. So the step 6 is complete. Let's go to the step 7. Simply output odd dash number or even dash number in the two components. Let's go there. We're going to be passing some content inside our opening and closing tags, and for this we must use ng content on the odd and even components. Ng content here and here. Okay, so even dash number, and the same on odd. Let's see how it looks now. Even 0, odd 1, even 2, odd 3, even 4. Let's stop it. It's working, and the step 7 is complete. Let's go to the step 8. Style the elements, e.g. paragraph, which is the one we used here. Holding your output text differently in both components. Okay. So let's use a border, solid to px black. Let's see how it looks. We might shrink it and then expand it here. So let's set a display inline block and a padding of 10px. Let's see how it looks. Looks fine. So not so fine, but it's good for the exercise, for the assignment in question. So let's do the opposite for our odd elements. Our background color could be black, and our foreground color could be white. Let's see if it's working. Okay, it's not the most beautiful thing I've seen, but it's functional, and there's a pretty it's pretty easy to realize the difference between the two components. So that's it. The step 8 is complete, and as always, the link to the GitHub repository will be at the description of this video, as well as the link to the course on Udemy. I see you in the next assignment, and drink lots of water.